My name is Catherine Tsay.
And I'm Eugene Tsay, and we're from San Francisco, California.
We actually just got married in March, so almost a year at this point.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I actually just moved here in June from Chicago. I was there for 2 years for grad school, but prior to that I was living in New York for 9 years.
And I moved to San Francisco 2 years ago from New York as well for a job here. Just finding the rhythm of being here in a new city, and I think trying to find our place here in San Francisco, it's been a bit process. I think everything has been kind of new for us as a couple. We're both relatively young, and what's striking is for both of us, we actually don't have our parents. When my dad passed away, I remember at his funeral, I would have these strangers come up to me and give me a card. And in the card they would say, "You don't know me, but your dad helped pay for my cancer treatment. How you don't know me, but when me and my wife didn't have much money during grad school, your parents loaned us money but never asked for it back." Their faith and their giving was something that I actually discovered after they passed away.
When I lost my father a few years ago, I was really lucky to be surrounded by an amazing support network. My Christian friends in particular were really loving and generous to me during that time, so much so that I actually started to be curious about the Christian faith. And I said, these people are just unbelievably loving. You know, who is this God they worship? I want to know more about him. And I think it was their generosity that really pointed to the love of Christ for me. I didn't know it at the time, but that really made me want to dig a little deeper into the reason for why they were the way they were. A few months before I met Eugene, I went on my first journey of generosity with a girlfriend of mine named April. It was actually her bachelorette weekend in Atlantic City, but instead of a traditional bachelorette, she decided to turn it into a jog. That weekend completely transformed the way I looked at money. But I also knew that money is a really important topic in marriage. If this was something that I wanted to center my life around, I couldn't do it alone. I would say also in the social circles we ran in, I think a lot of people came out of college making six figures, and it was so easy to just spend mindlessly. Yeah. And like getting out of that muscle or getting out of that habit after building that muscle over so many years is not super easy to do.
So it's hard to avoid. You kind of almost have to grapple with it. And I think Kathy was kind of a catalyst behind that. Like, we should be thinking very actively about this topic as opposed to passively just making money and hoping that we were doing the right thing.
My first job was in investment banking. I was working with media and telecom clients, didn't love it, and so I decided to go to business school to make a career switch. And so after I graduated in June, I joined LinkedIn. People decide to work in tech for the mission, but also for the opportunity to find success.
I work at Square, which is a payment processing and payments business. And where I came from, very similar to Kathy, I actually did consulting for many years within telecom, media, and tech. I do business development and partnerships with other tech companies. Wealth comes quickly, and that's kind of what you buy into when you come work at a tech company.
I don't think generosity was a core value for us as a couple until, and we had spent a lot of time talking about it, but it wasn't really real for us until we attended our first jog together. And you know, Eugene made a really big decision around his equity, and then at the time we were planning our wedding, and so we also decided not to have a traditional registry. We decided to create a giving fund instead to support a few organizations that we really cared about.
In tech, you're compensated in two ways. You're compensated with your base salary, and then you're compensated with equity. But equity is not given or provided to you all in one shot. It's dispersed over 4 years. After every quarter, you get an allotment of what you are earning. But what ends up happening is you feel like you're just chasing this equity. So what me and Kathy have done is at the end of the quarter, the stocks get released. We immediately take 50% of the stock units, and we transfer it to a giving fund through NCF.
We try to do it pretty quickly. I think we don't ever want to have a false sense that, oh, that equity is actually ours. And so we try to be quick about it.
When we made that commitment to give away like half our equity, the stock price was low. It was single digit. And I think in the moment, it just felt like, well, this is actually not that much capital. So, giving away 50% didn't seem like such a big thing. But in the year and a half since we made that commitment, the stock price has actually increased 3x. This year is like a total, I think, answer from God. If you commit this, I will see it through.
We really have to watch our budget.
Yeah.
As I said, we're natural spenders. We can't just go through the month without looking at our budget regularly and achieving our goals around giving. And so we have time set up in our calendar. We call it our weekly budget discussion, where we put in all of our spending from the week and kind of discuss how we're tracking for the month. And it's a great way to keep us on track. I don't think we're going to do this forever. I think just as we build that muscle of spending less on ourselves and putting more towards giving, it does take a lot of attention to detail, but I think it's a really important exercise if you're naturally a spender like we are. I have this belief that God has blessed us so abundantly, excessively, and that if God has given us a lot, he also expects a lot in return.
There were two reasons why we bought here in San Francisco. I think one, we wanted to put down roots. I think putting down roots is a sign that you're looking to not only invest, in a city, but hopefully you're investing in building a community here. We hope this place can be a place where people feel comfortable and can find refuge.
Hospitality is really important to us. We are super passionate about cooking. We pretty much cook every single night. We also love wine, and so we love to share that with our community as well.
What's a gift that people can give? And I think one gift that we've recognized over the years, people have a knack of making people feel known. This idea of like, I'm being recognized by you. And I think our dinner table and our home hopefully is an avenue for that you feel heard.
We're both very career-driven people, and I think at times it can become our identity. It's almost become a form of spiritual discipline for us to really put our trust in God. All of the resources and opportunities and support networks that he's given us were for a reason, and it wasn't just for our own comfort. It was for something greater, and ultimately, I hope for his kingdom.